Hello and welcome back to another episode of our Bridgesimton challenge, and we are here with the Hendrickson family and we are going to be starting off with them. They are our new couple that has just recently moved to town, and we are going to be seeing how they get on. As we know, this couple is trying to get with child, and I do believe that they had tried for a baby right before I started this episode, so hopefully we will find out in this episode if they are expecting or not. They are currently just getting a little bit of dancing in to see a little bit of romance for them, and I had realized that the husband here, which is Holden, is kind of got a little bit of romance going on with one of the other ladies in the community, and he had met her at the restaurant and they had picked up a little bit of conversation while she was out with her daughter, and they were getting to know one another, and then they had decided that they were attracted to one another, and then they started to get just a little bit of romance, and now he is kind of feeling some way about her. So he is in a relationship obviously with his wife Sabrina. They are trying for a child, but he has a little bit of some romantic feelings for someone else, and so he is, you know, kind of leading a double life currently. And so we will be seeing that here in this episode, how that plays out and what is going to happen with that. Because he definitely has some feelings for someone else, and so we will be seeing what is going to be happening from that and what is going to come of that. I don't know if it's going to cause some issues in his relationship with his wife or what is going to happen with that scenario, but we're going to go ahead and let them come upstairs and have themselves a little bit of rest, because it does look like both of them are feeling a little bit tired currently. So we're just going to go ahead and let them get a little bit of sleep, and then I will check back with you once they wake up from their nap. So as you can see, it does look like Holden has gotten up. He is just going to go ahead and go on in here and kind of clean up a little bit, and then we are going to have him go ahead and give a phone call here to Ginevra, who is the person that he does have a little bit of a romantic relationship with. As we know, Ginevra Vasari is currently married to Ulysses Vasari. She is the mother to Flora Vasari, and she is currently, married. She is another well-to-do family in the community, and so obviously if they have a bit of a relationship going on, it is going to cause a bit of scandal in the community, but Holden just can't seem to help himself. He has romantic feelings towards her, and so he is obviously going to have a little bit of a conversation with her, and he is currently chatting with her and flirting with her on the phone, and he is trying to see if maybe they can in a little bit maybe go somewhere together so that they can sneak away and see one another. And he just wants to see her. He wants to spend time with her because he has, feelings for her, and he finds that when he's away from her, he really is missing her. And so he whenever he gets a chance, sneaks away and calls her, and he tries to set up meetings so that he can sneak away and see her and things like that. We're going to go ahead. We're going to send Holden downstairs. We are going to let him go and grab a bite to eat. He's currently feeling a little bit hungry. He has been recently practicing on the piano, trying to get up some of that piano skill, and we are in this episode going to need to go ahead and get him enrolled in a job. He is going to need to get some work because we do need this family currently to be making some money, and being that he is the man of the house, he will need to go ahead and get himself a job. But currently right now he's just going to go ahead and he's going to get himself a bite to eat, go to the washroom, and as you can see, he's once again talking with Ginevra on the phone. Like I said, he constantly is doing that, and it does look like Sabrina has just found out that she is eating for two. So she is coming on downstairs here. She wants to come down and let Holden know that they are expecting. She's obviously thrilled about this news. She's feeling really energized. She's thrilled about the fact that her and her husband are expecting a little one. They had been trying for a child, and now she is expecting, and she's really, really happy about the fact that they are going to be parents. She obviously is none the wiser about the fact that he has a side relationship. She doesn't have any idea that he is in a relationship with Ginevra and that he has a side piece and that he is in a relationship with someone else. So she's just happy that they are, having children. She has no clue. But he's calling, and he's come over, he's met up here with Ginevra, and he is, going to give her a little bit of a greeting. He's going to share a secret. He's going to tell her, look, Sabrina has just told me that she's expecting a child. I don't really know what to do because I clearly have feelings for you. I clearly want to be with you, but I am married, and she has just told me that she's going to be having a baby. But, at the end of the day, I can't stop thinking about you. I can't get you out of my head. And all I know is that I want to be with you. I realize that you're also married, but, I really do want to be in a relationship with you. And I want us to be together. And she's like, well, I want that too. And he's like, well, what are we going to do? Because clearly, you're in a relationship. I'm in a relationship. You have children. I'm about to have a child. How are we going to be able to be together? And she's like, I'm sure we'll be able to figure it out. And he's like, well, I don't necessarily want us sneaking around for all of eternity. And she's like, I don't necessarily want that either. And he's like, well, what are we going to do? And she's like, I don't know. I'm not sure, Holden, but I know that we'll figure it out. And he's like, look, I really want us to be able to be together. Do you think that we're going to be able to figure out how we can manage this? And she's like, absolutely. I know that we'll be able to make it work. So these two have decided that, they're going to go ahead and they're going to, while they're out here sneaking around, meeting up with each other, they're going to go into this bush and they're going to woohoo. And so they've decided that they are going to, cheat on their spouses, and they are going to woohoo together here in this bush. And he has decided to use protection. I guess he's decided that, maybe he doesn't want there to be a child from this rendezvous. So he did use protection, but they are, consummating this relationship here while they're out here in secret, and, they're desperately, falling madly in love with one another. They want to be together, and they are hiding this relationship from both of their spouses, and it is a huge scandal. If anyone were to find out about this, it would be the talk of society. And they know that, but they just can't seem to stop sneaking around and trying to be with one another. And Holden is just going to obviously grab her up and give her a bit of a kiss and just tell her, I just want you to know how important you are to me. I want you to know that you really do mean so much to me, and I don't want you to ever feel like you're second best in my life, because I really don't feel that way about you. You are so important to me, and I don't really want to say that Sabrina, isn't important. I'm not saying that, but, if I had to choose between her and you, I think I would probably choose you, because the relationship that I have with you is just so very different than the one I have with her. And they just got a steamy romance dynamic together here, and Ginevra is just absolutely smitten with Holden, and she has asked him if they can live together. Now, Holden's going to tell her that he doesn't think it's the right time, and it is going to make their relationship strained, because she wants to live with him. And he's like, I don't think we can live together. You're married, I'm married. How is that going to work out? And she's like, well, I don't really know how it's going to work out, but I want to be with you. And he's like, look, we will make this work. We will figure it out with time. But I think for right now, we just can't live together. We're going to have to come to some kind of, we're going to have to figure it out. And she's like, okay, well, let's one more time go into this bush and show each other how we feel about each other. And then we'll separate and we'll go our own ways back to our house. Well, while they're in here in this bush and they're doing this woohoo, Sabrina has gotten suspicious at the house. She's wondered where Holden has wandered off to, and she has decided to come and show up here at the park, and she wants to, see what's going on, and she's walked up on them woohooing. And she's like, oh my gosh, like somebody's in this bush woohooing, and she's feeling kind of suspicious, like she doesn't really know what's going on. And she is a little bit embarrassed that she has seen someone in this bush woohooing, but she doesn't really know who it is. And then around here walks Ginevra, and she's like, oh my goodness. Well, she knows that Ginevra is married, and so she's thinking, oh my gosh, who is Ginevra woohooing with? And then she walks around the corner, and she's going to see Holden there. And she's instantly going to get suspicious. She's not going to be happy at all. She's going to go ahead and she's going to argue with him, and she's going to yell at him. She's going to kind of pick a little bit of a fight with him because she is now suspicious that he may be cheating on her. And even though she didn't necessarily catch him really in the act because she was on the other side of the bush and it wasn't the side that they came out of, she can't really accuse him directly of cheating on her because she didn't catch him in the act. She is very suspicious that that may be the case. So she is being kind of rude to him. She's giving him the cold shoulder, and he's like, look, I don't know why you're acting like this. I haven't done anything. And she's like, I don't know. I feel like maybe you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. What are you, out here at Makeout Park for? And you're like out here at this bush, and I just saw Ginevra leaving this bush, and it really looked like somebody was in there doing something they shouldn't be doing, and you're the only one here other than her, and it's just really suspicious. And he's like, look, I don't know what you're implying, but, I don't appreciate you talking to me like that. And she's like, okay, well, if you say nothing's going on, then I'm going to believe you. And he's like, well, I'm saying nothing's going on. And so he's just blatantly lying to her and telling her that nothing's going on when obviously there is. And he's like, telling her, you can't just accuse me of things when you don't have any proof. So these two are going to go ahead. They're going to head themselves on off to the house, and we are going to have them head on home. They do now have a little bit of a difficult dynamic. She's feeling obviously a little bit like things are a little difficult between them. She is feeling a little bit untrusting of him, a little bit like she is suspicious of him, and so it has caused a little bit of a rift. And now that we're back at the house, we are going to go ahead and we're going to let her go on inside. And as you can see, Holden is already in here. He's just playing a little bit of chess. He is instantly going to go ahead and he's going to call up Ginevra, and he's going to just chat with her a little bit. He already is missing her, and so he wants to talk with her. He's going to see if maybe she wants to come by. Obviously he's already missing her, and so he's like, do you think maybe you might want to come by the house? And it is really, really late, so I don't know that she actually will come over to the house, but he is offering up an invitation for her to come over. And she's like, no, I can't really come over right now. I'm kind of busy with my family. And he's like, okay, fine. So because she can't come over, he's going to go ahead and he's going to show a little bit of attention to Sabrina. He's like, well, I guess if I can't see Ginevra, I might as well show some attention to my wife. She's feeling a little bit suspicious, so I should probably ease her mind a little bit. So they're going to chat a little bit here, and he's going to try to make her feel a little bit better since clearly she's feeling a little bit untrusting of him. And so he's going to try to make her feel like, she doesn't have anything to worry about. So while she's doing a little bit of painting, he's going to play a little bit of chess, and they're just going to have a little bit of a conversation, and he's going to try to ease her fears and calm her mind and make sure that she doesn't really have anything to worry about. And then we'll probably get them to go on downstairs so that they can get themselves a bite to eat for supper, because it is starting to get late and both of them are going to be getting a little bit hungry. I do think that Holden will probably try to get Ginevra to come on round again a little bit later, because let's face it, like, he misses her, he wants to see her, and yeah, she was busy when he called, but he's hoping that, she'll get through whatever it was she was doing with her family, and then she's going to want to come over and see him, because obviously You know, the two of them are in love, and he's like, if I'm missing her, she's clearly missing me, and maybe she'll want to come over and see me, and so he's hoping that that will be the case. They are going to go ahead and head on downstairs and get themselves something to eat here, and we will make sure that they're all fed. I will probably just go ahead and get Sabrina to come on down and maybe cook something. He's just going to grab himself a little bit of leftovers. It does also look like she probably should go ahead and get herself off to the washroom. As we know, she is pregnant, so she does need to take care of her bladder needs and things like that. So we'll go ahead and let her take care of some of her needs, and then she's going to come and maybe just cook a little bit of soup here for the family. All right, why don't you go ahead and stop playing chess, and you can go on downstairs and get yourself a bite to eat there, Holden, and we will get you fed. It is starting to get a little bit later, and so everyone needs to start taking care of some of their needs. So she's just going to go ahead and go here to the washroom, and then we'll head her down so that she can go ahead and start cooking herself a little bit of supper. She'll actually cook a family meal, but we'll get her to cook up herself something to eat here. And he's just going to have a quick bite to eat, and then maybe he can give Ginevra a little bit of a call. So she is heading her way on down here to the kitchen so that she can get to cooking, and he's already having himself a quick bite of leftovers there. She's feeling really inspired now that she's here in the kitchen. She is loving being in here, and she's loving trying out her hand at cooking. She does seem to be enjoying herself in the kitchen and learning the cooking skill. I do think that she really does like cooking, which is great. Maybe she will really enjoy that skill, so that will be great for us. Usually the upper class families, you know, have a butler, but I mean, they do have a butler, but I think she really enjoys cooking. So she doesn't mind to get her hands in here and get dirty and to cook a little bit. So that's great. So we are just going to go ahead and have him call up Ginevra and invite her over to the lot again. And she has decided that she is going to go ahead and come on over. So while Sabrina is getting herself a bite to eat, Ginevra is going to go ahead and come on in. And we are just going to have Holden come over and welcome Ginevra into the home. And he's going to welcome her and give her a hug, give her a kiss, and tell her how much he's missed her while she was away. I mean, obviously she doesn't live here and she has to go home to her family, but he clearly misses her when she's away. And so he wants to come down, tell her how much he missed her, and tell her how glad he is to see her. And he's just going to tell her, like, look, I realize that this is difficult. I realize that, you know, even you coming here to my house is a little bit risky because my wife is here. But I have to see you. I have to be with you. I have to be around you. I want to be with you. I want to spend my days with you. When I wake up in the morning, you're the person that I want to see. When I go to bed at night, you're the person that I think of that I want to lay next to. Like, I don't know what we're going to do because you are the person that I really want to be with. And she's like, I feel the same way about you, Holden. I really do. And he's like, I just don't know how we're going to get around this. I really don't. And he's like, and now I've got a baby on the way, and it's just, everything is so difficult. And so they start kissing, and he's like, I really just want us to, you know, be able to be together and for us to have a family. And she's like, I would love for that to be the case for us to be able to do that as well. And he's like, you know, how are we going to be able to make that happen? And she's like, I really don't know. I really, really don't. And so he's kind of talking to her about the fact that he really wished that these two could be able to be the ones that are the couple, and he's hoping that somehow they can make that a possibility in the future. And so he is going to ask her if they can go and have some intimate time together. And I do think that obviously, being that they are as keen on each other as they are, she's probably going to tell him, absolutely, like, we can definitely go and we can be intimate together. Of course, I want to spend time with you and I want to be intimate with you. And so I think these two are going to go, and they are going to go and sneak off together and have themselves a little bit of romantic quality time together, so that they can show each other how much they care about each other once more, because he can't keep his hands off of her, basically. And she obviously returns those feelings to him as well. So these two are going to rush on out of the house here, and they're going to find themselves a place that they can woohoo, and then they will be able to spend some quality time with one another. So out the house they go. They are heading off so that they can go and find themselves a woohoo spot. They've decided to sneak off outside of the house and go over here to this bush, and in they go, and they are woohooing. Once again, he has used protection. I guess he is like, well, Sabrina is currently already with child. I'm not trying to create a huge scandal, although this is already a massive scandal. Like, if anyone were to find out about this, heaven forbid. Sabrina has just sold a painting, so we love that for her, and we're gonna go ahead and get her practicing some music here. Like I said, she is none the wiser. She has no idea this is going on. I mean, he has snuck out of their house and gone to woohoo with his mistress, and she's just like, I'm just practicing music. I have no clue that this is going on. And I mean, I hate that for her. I really do, because she's happy, she's in love, she's pregnant, and she's completely being cheated on. And we absolutely hate that for Sabrina, because, you know, she is in love with Holden, and, you know, she is in a marriage with him, and she has no idea that he's doing this to her. But he is, you know, feeling really confident. He's like, oh, nobody has any idea that this is going on. And he's like, I've got 2 women, you know, that love me dearly, and I'm on top of the world. And, you know, he doesn't feel bad at all, I don't think. But she is, you know, clearly a little bit suspicious, and so she is going to go over to Holden, and she's just going to say, you know, where have you been? You know, I was looking for you, and you were around. And he's like, oh, well, you know, I just had to kind of step out for a minute. And she's like, well, where did you go? And he's like, oh, I just went on a quick walk. And she's like, you just went on a quick walk? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, okay, sure. And she's like, I really think that you're acting kind of weird. Is something going on that you need to tell me about? And he's like, well, no, really, nothing's going on. And she's like, is there somebody else? Is there something that I need to know about? And he's like, no, why are you questioning me? Why are you once again asking me these questions? You know, what are you accusing me of? And she's like, I'm not trying to accuse you of anything. I'm just saying, like, you're acting really strange. And if there's something going on, like, you should tell me that there's something going on. And he's like, I can't believe that you're accusing me of these things. I can't believe you're saying these things to me. There's nothing going on. And so they instantly start getting into a fight. Their romance is going down because of it. Their friendship is going down because of it. And they're starting to have, you know, some negative feelings. She's instantly angry because they're arguing. And he's just gotten up and just walked away. He's like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And she's like, we are going to have this conversation. And so she's going to go back down there to him, and she's going to kind of provoke him a little bit, because she's like, he can't just walk away from me and tell me he's not going to discuss this with me. He's my husband, and if I am worried about something, or I feel like something's going on, then he is going to talk to me, and he is going to tell me exactly what's going on. I am pregnant, and I'm his wife, and I have every right to know what's going on. So she's going to pick a fight with him. She's going to say, you owe me, you know, an explanation. And he's like, I don't want to talk about this, and there's nothing going on, and you are just, you know, you're just crazy, and you're just making up things in your head. And she's like, that is not true. I'm not crazy, and I know there's something going on. And he's like, there's nothing going on. And so he's going to, you know, start this big rumor or whatever. And she's like, I can't believe that you are being like this. I can't believe you aren't just telling me what's going on, why you're being so shady. And he's like, I'm not being any way. I'm just being myself. And she's like, actually, you're not, Holden. You're acting very, very different, and I don't understand at all what's going on. And she's, you know, really, really angry. She's yelling at him, and he's like, you know what? I don't have to take this. He's like, I think we should just, you know, take a breather and walk away, and we'll talk about this, you know, when we've both calmed down. And she's like, you know what? Fine. And so she walks away. She's like, I'm going to bed. So she's going to walk away. She's going to go to bed. And Holden is like, this is ridiculous. So he's going to go ahead and get himself a bite to eat. And he's like, Oh my gosh. But we are going to go ahead and have a random selection roll now. We're going to find out what is going to happen to this family. As you know, there are 5 categories that we can roll from. So if we go to our random number generator and we go from 1 to 5 and we give that a generate, we get a 1. So in the 1 category, which is our financial category, we have 9 selections. So if we go from 1 to 9, we get a 5, and that says, scandal has been brought to your family name. To cover their backs, the royal family demotes you a station. Update your estate, wardrobe, and all accordingly. So I do find that that is kind of funny and, pretty fitting, because clearly he does have a scandal going on, and he has brought scandal to the family name. The royal family has clearly found out about this scandal, and because of that, they have demoted us and our station. So we are going to have to demote our family. We are going to change their clothing up. We will, obviously, they already have kind of low funds, so I'm not going to have to take away any of their money. And as far as their house goes, I'm just going to leave them where they're at, but I will change their clothes up. And we will say that they are no longer aristocrats. They are now going to be the next one down. So they are going to be, they would be the upper class. So I guess they would probably be Baron and Baroness. And they have definitely lost a little bit of station here. We are going to go ahead. We're going to get Holden enrolled in a job so that he will have a career. I think I'm going to go ahead and enroll him as a paramour. I think that's just really fitting for him. Clearly he has some issues with cheating, so I think it would be right up his alley to be a paramour. And so we are going to enroll him in the paramour career, and that will be his career here. And then we are going to go ahead and hop on over into cast with them, and we are going to update their clothing and get them demoted down to their station that they've had to have their demotion for. So let's go ahead and we will send him off to the bathroom and to bed, and then we will jump into cast with him and we will update their attire. So let's go ahead and hop into cast with them now. Okay, so we are back in the game, and as you can see, Sabrina is feeling pretty sick this morning. She's having a bit of morning sickness, and she is just getting, well, sick. So we are going to let her go and, though, I think, get herself a bite to eat. She is starting to feel a little bit hungry, and so we're going to let her go and grab herself a bite to eat. She is needing to get herself some food here. And so we're going to send her on down, let her grab something for leftovers. And when Holden gets up, we are going to have him go ahead and call over Ginevra. He obviously is going to want to see her because it is another day and he is going to be missing her. Obviously, he, probably should be checking in on his wife and seeing how she's doing, checking on her and the baby. But when he wakes up, the first person that he thinks about every day is Ginevra. And so he's going to wake up, and the first thing he's going to do is he's going to think about Ginevra, and he's going to call her. And he's going to say, I've missed you so much. I can't stop thinking about you. Will you come over and will you come see me? And she's obviously going to tell him, yeah, I'll come see you. I've missed you too. And so she's going to come on over and she's going to come see him. And obviously he will greet her when she gets here. And those two will probably end up being quite romantic with one another. And they are going to be lovey-dovey. And he will probably try to talk her into sneaking into one of the bedrooms and seeing if they can be intimate with one another. You know, he is starting to get a little bit more bold. He usually, you know, they sneak out of the house and off of the grounds and they go and woohoo in a bush. But he's like, you know, Sabrina won't be able to catch us. She's not going to be any the wiser. You know, it's hard for her to get around now that she's kind of getting further along with her being pregnant. And so there's no way that she's going to figure out that anything's going on. He's just, you know, she's just going to think that Ginevra's a friend that's come over. And so he's like really starting to feel bold. And so they are going to go upstairs and they are going to have themselves a little bit of a woohoo here. And he is woohooing. Not only is he woohooing in the house, but he's woohooing in their marital bed. Like, he is feeling super bold. And obviously she's going to come upstairs because she's looking for Holden. She hasn't seen him yet this morning. And she's thinking, like, has he slept in? Like, what's the deal? And so she wants to come up. She wants to check on him and see that everything's okay with him because, you know, she cares about him. She's his loving wife. And so she comes upstairs. She's coming to look for him. And lo and behold, what does she see? But she sees Ginevra in her undergarments and she sees Holden in his undergarments. And she's like, okay, seriously? She, once again, has not caught them in the act. She can't prove that anything has happened, but it's very suspicious once again. And so she's not at all happy, but she hasn't proved anything. She can't prove it. She's not caught them in the act. And so, you know, she's like, I mean, I can't, you know, I can't really say anything. And, you know, so these two are flirting. They're carrying on. He's telling her how he wants to start a family with her. And she's like, really? And he's like, I do. He's like, I really wish that you weren't with your husband. I really wish that you and I could obviously start our own family together. Like, I don't even want to be using protection with you. I would love to have a family with you. And she's like, I would love to have a family with you. And he's like, well, why are we using protection? Why don't we just have a family together? And, you know, we can maybe look into us being together. And she's like, if that's what you really want. And he's like, I do think that's what I want. And she's like, well, I mean, we can always try that. So these two are back into the bed again. They have decided that come what may, if they end up with, you know, with child, they will leave their spouses and they will be together as a couple. And he's like, if you end up with a baby, then I'll ask you to leave your husband. I'll leave my wife and we'll be together. And she's like, okay. So they're in there and they are having another woohoo. And meanwhile, Sabrina is majorly pregnant. She's cleaning up. She's being, you know, this wonderful wife to him. She's, you know, trying to be everything that, you know, she thinks that Holden needs as a wife. And meanwhile, he is just really being a horrible, horrible husband to her. But he's going to come in over here and he is going to, you know, just tell Ginevra how much he cares about her. The maid is like, what are you doing loving on her? That is not your wife. And he's like, don't worry about it. Mind your business. And she and him are, you know, being romantic, really flirting with one another. And they are not even, you know, mindful of the fact that, you know, Sabrina is in the other room. They're just carrying on. And they don't even seem to care that at any point Sabrina could walk in on them. They are just in their own little world. And they don't even seem to care that they could be busted. And so he's sitting here, he's flirting with Ginevra, and in walks Sabrina, and she sees him flirting with her, and she's instantly jealous. And she's like, that's it. I have seen you. I have finally busted you flirting. And so she's like, I am not going to put up with this. If I catch you doing this again, I'm going to divorce you. And so she's really, really upset, like truly, truly hurt by this. Like, she's pregnant and she's just caught him cheating on her. She's just caught him flirting with someone else, being physically romantic with someone else. Well, I guess non-physically romantic with someone else, but she's really hurt by this, and she's like, if I find out you're doing this again, like, we will get divorced. So he is continuing to flirt with Ginevra, but she's like, I'm going to go ahead and go. So Ginevra's going to go ahead, she's going to leave, and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation with Sabrina. And he is just going to tell Sabrina, look, like, I think you're overreacting. We were just flirting. It's really no big deal. And she's like, it looked like a big deal to me. It looked like a really big deal to me. And he's like, it's really not a big deal. And she's like, but it looked like it. And I don't like it at all. And if you do that again, you and I aren't going to last. And he's like, oh, I think you need to calm down. And she's like, do not tell me to calm down. And he's like, oh, you know I love you. You know you're important to me. And you're my wife and you're carrying my baby. Like, there's nothing you need to worry about. And she's like, I don't think, like, I think there is something I need to worry about. And I think, like, you're just filling my head full of stories. And I don't appreciate you treating me like this. And he's like, oh, just calm down. It's really not a big deal. It really isn't. But you can see their romance and their friendship has gone down quite significantly from this happening. And I think he's going to tell her, like, look, I understand that some things really bother you, but do you think that maybe, you can let me know when is this baby going to be here? When is, all of this going to happen? And she's like, I'm not really sure when the baby will be here, but it shouldn't be much longer. But, we have bigger things to talk about. Like, I can't believe that you just did this to me. And he's like, look, do you think that maybe you could reconsider your stance on the non-physical, physical, like, cheating things that make you jealous? Maybe you could allow me to woohoo other people. And she's like, no, I don't think so. And he's like, why not? And she's like, I absolutely will not change my stance on that. So we obviously are going to have to see where this story takes them and what is going to happen with Holden and Sabrina. But I am going to go ahead and leave this episode here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when new episodes go live on the channel. And I will see you guys in our next episode of Bridgesimton Challenge, where we will be with our next family and we will be finding out what happens with them. And until next time, I'm going to go ahead and bye for now. Bye, Ravens.